Welcome to Document News. Today I am joined in the studio by Afshin Bagherpour. And Afshin, welcome to Document News.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Thank you for having me here today.
Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Well, yes, my name is Afshin Bagherpour. I've been living in Norway since 1986. I've been studying mathematics and IT, working with IT management. The recent years I've been working with human rights issues, especially with the focus on Iran in the last years. And I am founder of an organization called Maximum Support for Iran. It's a civic network of Iranian and Norwegian who are working with issues about the human rights situation about Iran. We are engaging in public debates. We are managing the events and then trying to give a correct picture of the situation to the at least Norwegian society.
And what is your impression about the press coverage about the Iran situation now?
Well, the coverage of the Iran situation have always been the same, in my opinion. And it shows clearly what they cover and what they not cover, especially after the protests since the December 2025. I think the views are quite selective. They are focusing on a very special way, in a way that they are reflecting the way the Islamic Republic trying to show the situation to the world, and they are relying on that. So shortly described, very selective and very limited, I think.
As we know, it was the Iranian leftists who aided Khomeini to power in the revolution in 1979. And can there be a similar undercurrent of leftists now in control of the mainstream press in Norway who is giving you a hard time, even when the regime is firing on its own people?
You know, this is very known. And if you look at the history, actually, at least the history of the Middle East and Iran, you can see always the leftist and Islamists have gone hand in hand. And it has been changed in different times and different periods. But this is known that the left-wing's journalists have been dominating the Western media, and this is not a secret. At the moment, you do not have so many conservatives newspaper or media house. So yes, my answer is there's a certain tracks of the Marxist and at least the left-wing's ideologies in the way that the media has been covering this in Norway.
It's fascinating because every left-wing revolution ends in tragedy and massacre, and they always think next time it's going to get better. So they don't really learn from experience, and we know how the Iranian regime turned on the leftists and killed them just after they had come to power. And here again in Norway, you see this unholy alliance between, radical Islam and the left and the progressives. So is there any curiosity in your message now when openly the regime is killing its own people who do nothing else than walk out on the streets and demanding freedom for women, for liberation? They still want to present this regime in a positive light.
Yes, let me start with the point that the biggest spot in the Western media is to equalize the Islamic Republic with the Iranian people. They are different. And the way that they are trying to reflecting the news is to mix the Islamic Republic's ideology and politics and connecting them to the Iranian people. We are not the people of the Islamic Republic, and they know that, we know that, and media know that. Regarding to the combination of the Islamists and the Marxists who founded the Islamic Republic, this is correct. Many of the leftist groups were eliminated by the Islamists, but not all of them. Those who were not eliminated, they remain with the regime. And the group that we are talking about very much at this moment, about the reformists, liberals within the regime, these are the rest of the leftists that we're seeing that. I personally think there are no tracks of the nostalgia leftists that were in the 1979 in Iran left anymore. What we see here, it is a diaspora phenomena that during the last 30, 40 years, they have been establishing in the Western countries, and quite often in the monarchies, like Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, or UK. And now they are dominating the media. They're trying to show the world how Iranian how the Islamic Republic is reflecting the situation, and from their perspective of the view.
There is a remnant of a Marxist Mujahideen guerrilla which aided the revolution in 79, then had to flee across the border to Iraq, and now they have a headquarters in Albania, of all places. But does this still represent a power if there is some a crisis or a power vacuum now in Iran, or a threat to the diaspora?
Yes, the people, Mujahideen, called for MEK, MEK. Yes, that's true. They have their headquarters in Albania. And in my opinion, they have zero support in Iran.
Okay.
Maybe it's wrong to say zero, but in a way to express how little they have support in Iran. The group is kind of a cult. It's a hybrid. It's a combination of the Marxism and the Shia Islam. Both of them as a disease, deadly weapons. Recently, there are more supporters in diaspora and abroad than the Iranians itself. I don't think personally there will be any threats to the democracy in Iran, because they have no support. Okay. Definitely no support. But you will see them outside Iran in many countries. They have a good access to the assets and the money, and what they lack is the support of the Iranians. I'm quite sure about that.
The diaspora in Europe, the West, have long demanded that Iranian embassies be closed down, since they function as, power centers for the regime. Also, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, which control much of the economy, are also able to fundraise in important centers like London and the West. The biggest Iranian embassy is in Mexico, of all places, which aids the movement of both drugs and so-called refugees across the border into America. So they represent a huge threat, and yet Western governments seem not aware of it, or not willing to touch this strong, hardcore Islamic Guard Corps. How do you think they are represented in Scandinavia as well?
I think the Western countries, especially European countries, had the knowledge about the Iranian embassies in the West. The whole Islamic Republic is run by the IRGC. Everyone know that. Every single ambassadors which will be sent to the European countries will be picked carefully by the IRGC. So the Iranian Islamic Republic's embassies in Europe, in the West, they are actually not the house of Iranians. They are centers of the spying and contributing to terrorists. We know that. And during the last 30, 40 years, the Islamic Republic has managed to build up various and a huge network of the Islamist groups in every single capital, also in Norway, in Oslo. And this is a very complicated network where the money will be transferred and the terrorist attacks will be planned. And when you mentioned Mexico, I'm not surprised because one of those areas where the Islamic Republic have been focusing a lot, it's Central America, because, you know, they have always a strategy. The Islamic Republic think, let's bring our defense line closer to the enemies. So that's why they have been creating so many proxy groups in Middle East at the borders of the Israel. Why not to make the same network in the Central or South America, which is closer to United States? So this is the idea they have. I'm not surprising that they have chosen Mexico and Mexico City to have the biggest embassy to manage the plans. That's quite correct.
One of Document News journalists, Document NO, he used to work for a financial newspaper, and he is like an economist. He's an expert on oil. And he now goes through this enormous transfer of wealth from one of the channels is the Foreign Office and their Third World Support. One of those 100 groups he has looked into or is looking into is called the Latin America groups. And when you look at how they present themselves, the pictures with, you know, the fist, clenched fist, it's really lifted from hardcore communist tradition in Norway. They also used to have, you know, Latin groups, committees for most of these South American countries. And they really do cooperate hand in hand with the Islamic Guard Corps, and the funding comes from official Norwegian channels, supposedly going to the Third World. So it's really shocking and a scandal in waiting, because this has been going on since 1999 with our first prime minister from the Christian Democratic Party. And later, you know, the Foreign Office is a bastion of the Labour Party. So no journalists in the mainstream press has ever bothered to look into this enormous scandal. So you see, it goes really to the core of our societies. So how do you think, you know, the changes in Iran can aid a better future also for Western Europe and liberate us from the same kind of regime hand here?
You know, I always say a free democratic Iran will change the whole political image in Middle East as the way it did happen in 1979. In 1979, when the leftists and the Islamists created Islamic Republic, it changed the whole entire region. We could see the proxies, the terrorist groups, Islamic centers, regional wars, how it started, and we are there now. But with a free democratic Iran, I'm quite sure that we will see a totally different Middle East, which will also affect and change the way the people live, the way the people will do businesses, and how the democratic the processes will be will be activated in many countries. I'm quite sure about that. Many of our neighbors in the region, maybe there are some concern about that. Will a democratic Iran change their way to rule? Yes, it will, because we are facing a movement, a revolution by a new and young generation who is refusing the Islamic rules. They are seeking the democratic way of living, and they are willing going back to our Persian culture and historic roots, and I'm quite sure that will change the whole region, and that will be a good benefit for the Westerns. As the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi always said, we are your partners. We are your true partners. With your help to get rid of the Islamic Republic, you will have a better days, you will have a better political safety situation in Europe as well. There's no doubt. The IRGC, the Islamic Republic, is much closer than you think. They may be everywhere.
And they, just like in Nazi Germany, represent kind of a dead-ender fanaticism. They have nothing to lose by giving up their weapons because they are too soaked in blood. So, and they also believe in this 12th Imam kind of end of times ideology, whereby trying to destroy the world will actually make the 12th Imam return and save them. So do you think there is a danger that they will fight to the end, or will they admit that the time of this regime is over?
I think the time of this regime is over. It should have been over for many years ago. If the West hasn't made several deals with this regime. There are no secrets. The West, the European countries, the European Union, they've always known about how the regime working, how they rule.
Yes.
It has been it hasn't been a secret. But at the time and different periods, different governments, they are making deals with them.
Yes.
The deals are not important. Why you make deal with a regime that that they are surviving by the oppression? The Islamic Republic are surviving of the oppression in Iran and chaos abroad.
Yes.
And that's why they do. When you make deals with such a regime, you are legitimizing the regime.
Yes.
When you're sitting at the same table and making deal, you will show the rest of the world, I'm doing a deal with a partner, with a worthy partner. So they should have actually seated at the same table and deliver the demands.
One of the deals that Obama did with the regime was he unfroze the funds that had been closed since the fall of the Shah in '79, and not only that, he flew much of it in cash to Tehran, which was broke at the time, and this cash was injected into the expansion of this Shia crescent with Hezbollah and Hamas, which are of course Sunni, but under the control of Iran, and the Houthis, and also all this activity in South America and so on. So really we have extended a helping hand. The same thing with the terrible get out of jail deal he did with a nuclear program, whereby the regime only promised to delay by 10 years the actual making of nuclear weapons, but they were allowed to have a nuclear program, which was obviously towards this goal. So what do you think, is there a danger now that they are very close to getting a bomb and this material has to be secured? Or, what's the dangers at this time in Iran?
Actually, nobody knows. Let me give you an historic introduction. Let's put it in that way. The recent in 12 and 13 days, the Israelis and Americans have been bombing over 5,500 targets in Iran, mainly military, missiles centers or fabrics, manufacturers, factories, and they are not done yet. So during the last 40 years, they have not done anything than to build up a killing machine, military, missiles, drones, and nothing else. And for doing that, they need the capital. And some of those capitals came from the Obama to the regime before the nuclear deal. So that was a very naive decision, and all of us Iranians has difficult to understand how could you do that. And based on the regime's own numbers, they have been invested about maybe $100 billion to their proxies in Gaza, in Lebanon, and in Yemen. They have been invested about 2 or 3 trillion dollars in their nuclear program. So the money that they get, the money that they own, the money that they earn is going not to the Iranian people. They are going to create export the revolution, terrors, and the missiles. The picture that we see now. This is a result of what President Obama started for some years ago.
There is one interesting weak point in the Persian Gulf with the Karg Island, where most of Iran's oil exports, I think 60 or more % of it, is going to China. And if America sees control of this island, they also seize control of the income of Iran and much of the oil going to China. So is this a likely next move?
Yes, it is. Not to limit the Islamic Republic's income, because China is the only customer for Iran to buy their oil, but they are not paying by cash. They are delivering technology, cars, bicycles, chocolates, candies, and everything. I think the reason that U.S. will control on that island is to control the oil price in the world. It has its impact there. But at the moment, the regime had several 100 billion barrels of oil on their shadow floats in the world.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. If they take control over that island, where the 60 or 80% of the Iran export going from there, so they have the last streets to the regime fall.
Of course, Iran is a fabulously wealthy country and with a very well-educated population. The women too have, amazing careers, but there have been no jobs and no, focus on making a better future for the Iranian people. All the money the regime has sent to missions abroad. So how quickly do you think Iran will be able to transform if there is a new government?
I think we have the resources, we have the knowledge, we have a new young generation who are willing to that. I think we have a generation of the people who are throwing away the Islamic rules, focusing on what Iranians are. I think everything is there. The willing are there. All we need is support, and I know quite sure that already there are investors who who are willing to come to Iran and invest on several sectors. I'm quite sure about that. It might be a very difficult periods of time, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. That's logical, because we are taking over a country which has been ruined for everything. Not a single cent in the central bank. I'm quite sure the day they are leaving Iran, they will empty the central banks. I'm quite sure about that. There will be no resources. We have a infrastructure which has not been renewed since the revolution. In the energy sector, the lack of the waters, there are lack of the powers, and we have the education institutions which have been destroyed. But we will have a free country. And when you have a free country, when you have a free people, they will do everything. And Iranian has shown during the history that we are the people that we can make it. I'm quite sure about that.
Now that the Iranian people is coming more into view, and our press is forced to start telling their story, do you feel that your points are coming across also in the Norwegian press?
To be honest, no.
No.
I've been thinking a lot. Maybe the way we are trying to publish news, maybe the way we are demanding of the news to broadcast, maybe we are doing something wrong. But no, the answer is no. When they mainstream media, especially the state's broadcasting, NRK, when they are making reports and the numbers are based on the numbers from the regime, the sources are from the sources in the regime. When they are inviting the so-called Iran experts to describe, for example, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, why not having an interview with him, the man with him? If you can't, there are several hundred interviews of him at the social medias on his own site, and maybe not playing them. So I mean, personally, there are a certain policy and thoughts behind the scene. The Iranians are not happy. Iranians are angry about that, because the way the mainstream media are trying to cover the news from the Iran has not rooted the reality. Definitely not. And the alternatives to that is the social media or like document newspaper, for example, who are willing to reflect the realities and the truth.
I'm going to make a terrible comparison, but I'm afraid it's somewhat appropriate. You know, the German Nazi minister of propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, he had an expression called Gleichschaltung, and it meant that wherever a reader is looking, he will face the same narrative, the same story. And I'm afraid that is the situation for normal readers all over Scandinavia and the West, that the leftists control the mainstream narrative. So normal people who have only time for, some minutes or skim through a newspaper will face the same so-called reality wherever they look. And the people who produce this news are convinced that they are telling the truth because, they are never facing counter-arguments. And the few poor souls who are aware or follow, honest-seeking media abroad, because there are big groups, let's say in America and Britain, will not dare to raise their voice on this topic.
Yes. This is not just about the Iranians. I'm in touch with many Norwegians as well. Many of them are quitting to see or read the mainstream media. There are no trust there. There are definitely no trust there. I know from the beginning of the protests, when the news leaked out. After 3 or 4 weeks, the state's media in Norway, they operated with the numbers of the regime, a few hundreds killed.
Yes.
I'm quite sure. Okay. The regime cut the internet, they cut the mobile networks. I know about that. But I think the Western countries, Norwegian as well, they had their embassies in Tehran. They have their own information sources. They knew exactly what happened on those days in Tehran and several hundred cities. They knew exactly how many people were massacred. But it took 2 weeks, took 2 weeks after the massacres, when the Norwegian foreign minister came out with a statement and condemned the way the Iranian regimes have been handling the situation and not demanding anything, just asking to be nice.
Exactly.
And I know the press and media also has access to the source and intelligence, but the question is, why not covering that? Why continuing to present the wrong numbers, to downgrade the protests to a revolution where people are in the street because of the price of the milks or rice, or a weak real. I think that's very sad, very sad.
And let's make the comparison then with Gaza, which, you know, the press was all over for almost 2.5 years. And that was a street war. It was fought, you know, with a lot of loss of life by the IDF to try and limit civilian casualties, and more than, you know, the majority by far of the people killed were Hamas operatives. But if you read the Scandinavian press, you feel that most of the victims are women and children, and you never see any picture of, you know, hooded or bearded Hamas fighter, because they are kept out of the press. They, you know, especially with pictures, they manipulate people's opinions. And, you know, here in Iran, you have a regime which, on purpose, kills women and children for no reason whatsoever, either than that they protest or they are just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And there are militias let loose to kill people on a body count basis, and they are paid for these bodies. And still, our media won't tell the truth. They will try and tone down, hush up how brutal, how evil these massacres are.
This is the same policy, Christian. Look at what happened in Gaza. The reports came from Gaza daily: a number of deaths, number of injuries, and what was the source? It was Hamas.
The Gaza Health Ministry, they called it.
Yes. So your source is Hamas. Based on the numbers came from the Hamas, there were 70,000 people killed in Gaza, including women, children, adults, and adults.
Anyone who died in the hospital was counted a victim.
Anyone who died. So, tragically, yes, 70,000. How many of them were the Hamas warriors? We have no numbers. We have no numbers. And this is what is happening in Iran again. The mainstream media, they are presenting the numbers coming from the regime. And we know that no one trusts that regime, the numbers.
Exactly.
And I would like to draw another picture. During the 3 years war in Gaza, the internet was not interrupted, never. The mobile network was never interrupted. the whole human rights activists in the world, many organizations, political parties, states and governments who supported the Palestinians. Back to Iran. During 2 days, I mean, in a very careful numbers, 36,000 people were slaughtered and massacred in 2 days. No human rights activists, no European countries, no organization in Norway or Europe were willing to support us. No one. And my question is, making sympathy with the Palestinians will not stop you to supporting Iranian people. Why? And another question, when you are going out and supporting the Palestinian people, but not drawing a red line with the Hamas. This is the question many of Iranians, also within Iran, have been raising. So this is the same policy. So every single conflict in the world where the Islamic Republic and the Israel are not part of this will be ignored. Look at the Sudan, look at the Tibet, look at the Darfur, for example, yes, everywhere. So this is quite obvious.
Yeah. And we used to celebrate the Al-Quds Day and what's his name, this Kurdish Ottoman leader. So the leftists have these almost saintly pictures from the Muslim world, and they just refuse to take off the niqab and show the face of this regime. They prefer to wear the Palestine scarf, for instance. The women who would not be allowed onto Gaza streets with their hairs flowing free are wearing the Palestinian scarf even today. They should have been wearing the chador now if they really wanted to support this dirty the regime that they are trying to whitewash. And just the other day, on the 8th of March, I noticed, we should put it on the screen, the far left party FOR, F-O-R, probably supported by Russia and probably others, with a banner saying, stop the American imperialism, support the Iranian people. And that's like 2 weeks since, or 2 months since they slaughtered 30, 40, 50,000 in the street in 2 days, like you said.
Yes, the party FOR, they are example of the same picture that I'm trying to describe here. When the socialist Marxist goes hand in hand with the Islamists. And I know that they are managing a demonstration today with the Islamists in Norway. And when they say support the Iranian people, support what kind of support and who? Yeah. Which one? Iranian people or the Islamic government? So I think they are kind of confused. And I know that they had 0.3% of the votes in the last election. That's not too much. It's almost zero. But it makes 10,000 people.
And of course, their fellow travelers are many more. For instance, the Communist Party, they call themselves the Red Party, the Socialist Left Party, even elements of the Green Party, even the Labour Party. Many of them have this innate sympathy of anti-Americanism or even pro-Islam. They see them as a vehicle of spreading their own ideology. They don't understand, or they don't take it serious, that Salafists are dangerous. And they think of Allah just as a tool to remove the remnants of a conservative Norwegian society.
I think those socialist groups or parties, socialist SV, the Red Party and FOO, I think they are in a period where they have lost their roots. They are trying to seek and to reach a new DNA, and they are seeking that at the Islamic centers. What happened to their cause? They have been fighting for solidarity, democratic, human rights, but you are going to support the same regime that massacres 40,000, 36,000 people in 2 days. For me, at the moment, they are acting as a ruthless groups and political movements, and it will get worse. I'm quite sure about that.
And it also removes the mask of supposed anti-fascism. They have claimed to fight Nazism and fascists in their midst. But now when we are faced with a massacre of Nazi proportions, they avert their eyes. They prefer to actually try and reduce the damage to one of the most fascist regimes in our time.
Yeah, and this is something that we knew. We have confronted, also we have been talking about that. We have been publishing articles. We have been engaged in a public debate and try to engage them, but they will always ignore. And I think the situation will be worse. I think we will see those political parties, they will die out. We'll have a period where we're going to have the first Islamic political parties participating in the Norwegian election. I'm quite sure about that. We have been warning about that in many years, but no one will listen.
No, I'm afraid you are perfectly right. And I want to reach back a little bit in history because we need to clean up in our closets where there are a lot of skeletons. And one of them concerns the famous Iranian Salman Rushdie, who of course lives in America, and he is by nature a leftist. But he wrote this famous book we know, Satanic Verses, which I think hardly any Muslim has read, including Khomeini, who declared him through a fatwa to be, he should be killed and the murderer rewarded. And there were, I think, an Italian, a Japanese translator, plus the Norwegian publisher in Oslo. In 1993, he was hit by 3 bullets and, escaped barely with his life. And there were 2 people involved. One was a man appointed at the Iranian embassy, and another was a man who was sent from the Middle East, probably, I think, from Lebanon, probably Hezbollah operative, to actually pull the trigger. And he was arrested. He was put in a cell, and that was on a Friday. On Monday morning, the bird had flown. There had been a message from very high up instructing the police chief to release him. And this happened without any, debate. And afterwards, the papers didn't really follow this track. So they pretended to have an investigation, but there was a Norwegian writer who in the end put the pieces together, Isungset, a heroic job. He has shown us the names and the pictures of these 2 most involved in the assassination. But still, Norway doesn't try to solve this. And, Muslim extremists have a very long memory. And Salman Rushdie there was an attempt on his life in America just, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
More than 2 decades after this.
I think that this is very strange because I think the reason that Khomeini picked up Salman Rushdie was quite political, because before Salman Rushdie, there are several Iranian writers who had been writing books which is far, far worse and more dangerous than Salman Rushdie's book, actually. We know that. That has the political reasons. But back to Norway, what happened in Norway? I'm not. I don't have any good knowledge about what you told me. But what I can tell you, the development has been like that for a week ago. The Islamic Republic's ambassador, he was very happy with the Norwegian government. He pointed the government as different than the Norwegian, that the European countries, and that says everything. That says everything. That you have, during many years, have been creating a good relation to one of the most brutal regime in the world. You have made deals with the regime, and still have. I think the Prime Minister or some advisors said they have been in touch with the Islamic Republic last week as well.
You know, many of our institutions, including, unfortunately, our royal family, has been, you know, dominated by advisors from the far left. And one of them is a man who rose through the ranks of the Foreign Office, through under the wings of a female politician from Trondheim, who was appointed one of the very few honorary citizens of Palestine. And this man made sure that the king did not send condolences to Israel after the 7th October massacre. And again, when there was now a gala party at the palace, the Iranian ambassador was invited. And I am sure the king personally does not want this, but somebody, he is also very old and sick. But, you know, the people who control even our, you know, royal family come from this far left tradition. And just the other day, one of our top military generals appeared on TV with a green version of the Palestine scarf, a clear sign, you know, that Islam is accepted amongst our ranks. It's not an accident.
Now, I know about the one when the Iranian embassy were invited to the dinner at the king's place, the palace. What is very, very pity is that at the same time, the foreign minister came out and was very happy and proud to introduce the European Union sanctions to the Iranian regimes. And he didn't introduce the second part of sanctions, where to put the IRGC on the terror list, because he avoided that. But anyway, that was a good news for us, Iranian diaspora in Norway. At the same time, same evening, we see that the Iranian embassies entering the palace and having a nicer dinner with the kings and the other embassies.
Yes.
And yes, you're right. I think His Majesty had no influence on that decision. This is the foreign minister and his staffs to make that. I'm personally quite sure that the king doesn't want to see the image of that monster in his house.
Of course, he's supposed to stay above politics, which he does, but he did signal that he was not at liberty to extend these condolences.
I remember that. That was also very, very pity, very sad, and you know, we are dealing with the left wing's advisors and the policies, and they're doing everything they want. And they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
And there are big scandals around the corner in Scandinavia. We saw some of it from the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And where it has just been revealed in the last couple of days that during the time of today's prime minister's, I think he was the foreign minister at the time, one of his main, actually a UN advisor from Norway, Terje Rød Larsen, a corrupt man, it has now been revealed, he took a lot of files from this Oslo Peace Accords process and kept it in the cellar of this apartment he bought with Jeffrey Epstein, here a couple of 100 meters from the Foreign Office. And the Norwegian press tried in the early 2000s to locate these files, and our current Prime Minister's investigation concluded, no, there were no files missing. But now here they are, tons of them. So, you know, but it gets very little traction in Norway. The people in power want to, you know, avoid discussion.
This is very, very naive to believe that we are living in a democracy. We are a nation of 5.5 million people. We are wealthy. We have a constitution, a parliament who are democratically elected, and there are a lot of money in the picture here, and it's very naive to think that when in a country with these characters are making important deals on international venue, that such a things never happen. It's quite opposite, and the history has shown out the corruption is everywhere where the money and power is, and Norway is not an exception. And yes, I read in the news that he had moved important files to his private archives. And this is not allowed. It's illegal, and it's against the archive law. I know about that.
Do you feel there are countries in Europe that are doing a better job of supporting freedom for the Iranian people, or, you know, conservative values?
To demonstrate your question, I want to tell a story. We had a project for a year ago or a year and a half ago. We made a work group containing of 7-8 people, mostly political activists or journalists, to synchronize the news and publicity in a way that they are quite similar in different countries. Very good idea. So we took it around the table. Someone said, this is, for example, Reza from Germany, Ali from France, and they had an introduction. It came to me, so Afshin from Norway. So everyone got silence. And they said, you have the toughest job here. And I believe we have the toughest job in the entire Europe. That's so tough, is that.
I must confess, when our cameraman and myself were interviewing Iranians on the street in early January, it was a terribly cold day, -20, it was hard to speak. More than 5,000 came out from the Iranian community and stayed for hours. And I was almost heartbroken because so many young people were there, and they looked so optimistic and were so certain of a better future. And deep down I thought, no, I don't think Trump is going to follow through and try and change this regime. Fortunately, now there is some military action and a very good hope that it might be a better future. So how, especially your younger members, how do they look to the future? Many of them were born in this country. Are they hopeful they might return to a free Iran, or what is their mood?
I remember your interview with that young Iranian girl. I know her. And she was very proud to talk to you about, to telling her feelings, to telling about her thoughts, because these kids have been raising in Norway, but the Iranian, the Persian, maybe Iranian is better expression, are in their DNA. And I think they feel kind of the same with their similar countrymen in Iran. The new age, the new generation, they are thinking quite the same because they are seeking the same values of the democracy, the same values of life, and I think many of them are willing to travel to Iran. Maybe they are not fit to live there because they haven't been there. The culture has been changed somehow, but they have a strong feeling and connection to their country now. At the same time, they feel as a Norwegian. I remember you saw them. Many of them wear both Norwegian and Iranian flags on their shoulders and with hand. So I think this is a very nice combination that you can manage the benefits of the strengths of the two cultures combined in one and making a better future. Maybe they are the generation that can save Norway in the future.
Yes, exactly.
I think.
And I would like to tell our readers, you should really show up. I think every Saturday there is a congregation in central Oslo of the Iranian diaspora, and it has a beautiful feeling and atmosphere. You feel like you're visiting old Iran, kind of little corner.
Yes, it has been Saturdays, but the days can be changed. But every week we have had demonstrations, gathering, and different part of the people coming there. You have the families with the kids, you have the grandpa, grandmothers, students, doctors, unemployees, school children. Everyone's coming there, and with only one message: let's free Iran.
Yeah.
And so we always say in those gatherings, we have a very common slogan: let's get Iran free first. We can build up democracy together.
Yes.
So the first goal must be to get rid of this regime. We have a leader. We have chosen Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. We have support in Iranian diaspora, an Iranian who lives in Iran. And we have also now getting the help from the US and Israel. So I think we are going to experience some tough days in the next weeks, to be honest to you. The war will change its character because the Islamic Republic will change his behavior. I'm quite sure that you are going to use chemical weapons or terror actions. I know that U.S. and Israel is going to hit another type of the targets. Civilians will get killed. But it's important to say that Iranians are not dying in a war. They are killed by their own government. This is the main issue. 40,000, almost 40,000 people during of 2 days. Maybe it's wrong to say 2 days. Maybe it's correct to say in 12 hours. Actually.
Wow.
The right number of the victims will come out later when we get Iran free. But let's keep that number. Almost 40,000 people got killed. 330,000 people got injured. Over 10,000 people got blind. And someone said they used 500,000 bullets in 12 hours. So please don't come to me and say the civilian get killed in that war. Following the number of the regime, 1,300 people have been killed during 12 days of bombing 5,500 targets in Iran. It's not too much. And those are the numbers from the Islamic Republic. So, yeah, we are going to face some tough days, some weeks. We need to stand together. We need to see to a brighter future that will come to us, but it won't be easy. Hopefully, we have support from the U.S. and Israel, and that also help the situation.
And this uprising seems to be different from all the others. This time you have strong backing, and the Iranian people will settle for nothing else than regime change. And when I met you last week, you explained that when grieving families are burying their dead, they refuse to be sad.
They refuse to be sad because they are refusing to let the regime to see their sadness, to their grieving. They have changed the grieving to anger. They are dancing on the cemetery, not because they have no pain, because they are showing strength to the world, to their countrymen. We have lost one of our beautiful minds, but we are proud of that. The story of the Iran is not about the regime strength or weakness. It's about a people who finally got rid of their fears. They're out now. You can't win when you have a people where they have lost 10,000s of their dears, and they have turned grieving to the anger. They have a goal, and they have no fears. You can't win. Never. There's no chance. And we will have a period of time when people going out to the street again, and we are prepared to much more massacres also. But we know that now the Israeli drones started to attack the militia in the streets, and that will back up the people as well.
The British Prime Minister Macmillan, towards the end of the British Empire, went to South Africa with a very unwelcome message that, the winds of change are blowing through this continent, whether we like it or not. And it is a political fact. And, the same, I think, winds of change are blowing both from America and Israel, but also now from Tehran. So I think we are looking towards a very hopeful future, and much of it thanks to the strong Iranian people.
Thank you. I believe so. But as I said, it won't be easy. It won't. It will be complicated. It will be internal conflicts. We know about that. You're aware about that. We know that there are also chances for another conflicts or wars. But the main important thing is to get rid of this regime. Nothing, absolutely nothing, no regime, no groups can be more worse than them. And they have shown that. When you import the militia from your neighboring countries to kill your own kids, that say everything.
Yeah.
So I'm very hopeful. I'm concerned. I'm sometimes afraid. I cannot hide that. But I'm also hopeful for the future.
Well, Afshin, thank you so much for talking to Document News today.
Thank you so much for having me here, Christian, and thank you so much to have opportunity to raise the Iran question and representing the Iranian diaspora.
Thank you. We hope to see you again.
Thank you so much.